Hey everybody, this week I'm going to be tackling a question that I've been getting a lot of, which is, if I'm dealing with a pattern of depression or anxiety, is it wise for me to scale back some of the responsibilities that I have? Is it wise to take some things off of my plate or potentially even take some time off of work? Or if maybe perhaps you're a full-time student, do you need to take some time off of school, take a semester or a year off? So first of all, what I can share with you is that very often people get to this type of analysis simply because they've been dealing with depression or anxiety for a long period of time, and it's become something that they feel like they've been struggling with in perpetuity, to the point that they're thinking, maybe I just need to lessen the amount of triggers that I tend to have that cause me to feel overwhelmed or cause me to feel sad or cause me to feel stressed in any sort of way. So it's a very natural inclination, but as you all probably know, if you followed any of my work for any period of time, my goal is to make sure that you're not necessarily given the most sugar-coated response to your questions, but really given the response that's going to actually serve you at the deeper level. And the other thing that you'll understand about the work that I do is that I am really interested in making sure that you have the answers to actually get your problem solved, not just get through another day or get through another week, with your fingers crossed, hoping that it will be better tomorrow, because I know that's not what you really want. So what I can share with you that I've experienced over the years of consulting with people who've been dealing with these challenges, who have gone that approach of peeling back their responsibilities and so forth, is that it does not generally make things better. Generally, the pattern is it tends to make things worse. Now, again, I'm speaking in generalities for the purposes of these videos, because there can always be an exception to the rule. If you truly are in an environment, in a work environment, let's say, where you truly do believe firmly that your employer is incredibly toxic or malicious or what have you, there is that rare case in which you are genuinely in an environment that is largely helping produce the mental health challenge, then it may very well be advisable for you to remove yourself from that environment and get yourself in a different one. But what I'm speaking about generally for the terms of this video here is the idea of removing yourself from a work environment entirely, or removing yourself from full-time schooling or what have you. And what I can share with you tends to happen is generally people's anxiety or depression gets worse if they go this route, and I can share with you why. What the common thinking is I need to remove myself from the triggers that are causing my anxiety or depression. And really what it comes down to is a misdiagnosis of what the actual cause of the anxiety and the depression is. See, you cannot confuse a trigger for the actual source of the problem. It may be that the tasks that you have at work, or your boss, or whatever other demands are upon you, are the specific trigger that bring out the pattern of anxiety or depression, but that does not mean that they are the cause. And what very often happens, almost every time I've seen this happen, people will remove themselves from work. They'll say, you know what, I'm gonna take a 6 months off or a year and really just focus on me, really get myself back to where I need to be. And I'll share with you that what tends to happen is they end up backsliding further, and this is why. One way to think about depression and anxiety is the mind creating a loop, a constant pattern of looping back onto itself. Okay, so to put that differently, if you're depressed, you're completely, continuously consumed with fears and anxieties and worries about what may happen in your life, or what somebody may have done to you that was wrong, or why things may not be going right. Okay, so one way to think of it is the more your mind is sort of caving in and looking in on itself, the more you are likely to experience a very serious pattern of depression or anxiety. Think of what anxiety is. Anxiety is very often that continuous sense of fear and apprehension that you're going to experience some sort of bad consequence if something does not go how you want it to go. So very often what ends up happening is when people remove themselves from an environment of work, school, or responsibility, what tends to happen is they have more time where their mind is running wild and chasing its own tail. There's more time for you to be sitting and thinking and tripping over your thoughts and in a perpetual loop of getting lost in your thoughts. And that is what leads to a deeper sense of depression or anxiety, not a lesser one. In order to actually get yourself consistently out of a pattern of depression or anxiety, you need things in your life that draw your focus and your attention outward. You need things that are compelling and exciting and challenging to you, that are meaningful, that cause your focus to go outward, that cause you to challenge and stretch your emotional and spiritual faculties, that cause you to apply your skills, that cause you simply to be focused out, not perpetually focused in, worried about the things that may occur, worried about all the things that are going wrong, and perpetually in a state of apprehension. You can only experience that state of apprehension when the pattern of your focus is completely directed inward. And when you recuse yourself of an environment where you have responsibilities or challenges, then very often you're just creating more time on your hands for you to be looking inward, which a lot of people confuse as being the appropriate route to solve your problems, and very often it just makes things worse. To actually get over this, you don't need to just keep sifting through all of your old memories and looking for more reasons to explain why you feel like you are messed up. You know, like I like to say, you cannot move your life forward if you're constantly looking in the rearview mirror. That's no way to drive, right? So you have to have something that is something to look forward to. And very often people will remove themselves from an environment that is the single saving grace that is keeping them from losing their mind, and then they end up sitting at home all day, and you add a sense of low self-worth on top of the patterns that you're already dealing with. And this is very often how people end up developing years of being out of work, and the more they do it, the more they feel trapped, and they feel less confident that they can actually go back to work or that they can actually do something meaningful. And that's not a place that you want to be. So do you want to actually take time away from your responsibilities to deal with your problem? Probably not. But doing what you're doing right now is probably not helping either, right? I'm not necessarily advocating for you to continue to put yourself in an environment where you are constantly feeling stressed and anxious. I'm simply saying that removing yourself from that environment is not going to solve the problem. What we have to deal with in order to actually help you overcome these challenges is the underlying source of the issue. The underlying thought pattern that is occurring that's causing anxiety to pop up for you, causing depression to occur for you. Because look, if you're fair with yourself, I would guarantee that even though there may be one specific set of triggers that occurs more often than another, it's likely that your depression or anxiety surfaces across a vast array of contexts in your life. So we have to appreciate that the depression and the anxiety is not isolated or caused by the specific experiences that you have. I should say there is about a 1% chance that that is the real source of the issue. There is that 1 in 100 chance that you really have a completely vindictive environment that you really need to remove yourself from. But again, that does not mean that you just want to remove yourself from all working environments. You may just need to make a change out of that specific one. So again, what's the real solution? How do you actually overcome depression or anxiety? We got to deal with the real problem at the source. We got to deal with the underlying patterns, and we got to make sure that we get you things in your life that you're looking forward to, things that draw your focus and your emotional energy outward. That's the only way to actually make this happen. Okay? So I hope that this has served you. I'm incredibly excited to be speaking with you again the next time that we get to interact. In the meantime, reach out if you ever have any questions or concerns and you need some additional help. Thanks so much for tuning in. Talk to you again soon.